Now, two of the country's top-notch universities, the University of Ghana, Legon, and the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, have been cited by the 2021 Auditor General's report for offering unaccredited programs. In the case of KNUST, for example, the report said out of the 360 programs run by the university, only 61 have been accredited. 190 have been sent to the National Accreditation Board, that's the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, for accreditation and re-accreditation, with 109 yet to be sent to the Commission for accreditation. The Auditor General has therefore recommended to management to cease running programs that are unaccredited or having its accredited certificate expired until they are accredited or renewed, to avoid sanctions by the Commission. Now, Legon, on the other hand, requires re-accreditation of its advertised 374 academic programs. This is because the listed programs have expired. Let's share with you the exact findings as captured in the Auditor General's report. Now, on KNUST, for example, the report says, we noted that out of the 360 programs run by the university, only 61 have been accredited and 190 sent to National the Accreditation Board, which is the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, for accreditation and re-accreditation, with 109 yet to be sent to the NAB for accreditation. We recommended to management to cease running programs that are not accredited for having their accredited certificate expired until they are accredited or renewed, to avoid sanctions by the NAB. Now, the report continues to say, on payroll, for example, they noted that 4 officers who were granted sabbatical leave by the university took up various appointments in other government institutions where they are enjoying full, that's basic salary, and other allowances, monthly salaries, in addition to basic and market premium being paid by the university, that is KNUST, resulting in what they describe as double payment of basic salary and market premium by government in the sum of 488,868 cedis, 69 pesos. We recommended to management to ensure that the officers refund their salaries paid by the university for the sabbatical leave period to the consolidated fund. So that's what the Auditor General said on KNUST. They continued in terms of talking about the Development Office. We identified a number of defects during our fiscal inspection of the proposed construction of educational resource facilities for the Institute of Distance Learning at Mori. We recommended that the Director of Works and the project supervisor should rectify the defect identified at their own expense. Now, let's take you to what they found, what the Auditor General said on the University of Ghana. He says that we identified a number of defects. So on UG, we identified a number of defects. So we're going to bring you what the Auditor General said about the University of Ghana and their programs, that they identified that out of there are over 300 courses that have had their accreditation expired. So that's it. Now, let's talk about also the lecturers who had gone on sabbatical, but had to still draw their salaries even though they were working for government institutions, amounting to what the Auditor General described as double salary payment. We've been joined on Zoom by the president of the Tertiary Education Teachers Association, the University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, Professor Solomon Nunu, who is with us on Zoom. Prof, thank you so much for joining us here on our news. Now, how do we progress about talking about double salary? Who erred in this instance? Is it the lecturer who's supposed to have known better, or it's the second recruiting institution which failed to do due diligence, or probably the university where the lecturer lectures, for example?
Okay, thank you very much for having me this morning on this issue. You will agree with me, until recently, what we had in the country was that when one is on sabbatical, the person draws salary from both the parent institution and then the institution where they find themselves. Recently, the Auditor General recommended, and that is what I think is being implemented at the moment, whereby if one is working for a government agency, then in that case, what is expected is that the person receives salary from only the government agency or the agency that the person has been sent to, and not the parent institution. So that is what, in my view, has been the practice, and that is what we have known for a while now, not too long ago, because the practice was different, as I alluded to earlier. So in this particular instance, who do we blame? Because that seems to be the import of your question.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a salary, and then I'm the one being paid. So if I'm being paid, for now, it's difficult for me to say that maybe the lecturer, the institution, between the two institutions, they communicate enough so that they know that, okay, institution A is the one supposed to pay and not institution B. But where that communication doesn't take place, it becomes problematic. And for all you know, it may also be that the lecturer even drew their attention. I think in such instances, the onus lies on us, the ones who are taking the salaries, to also to draw the attention of the powers that be, so that the right thing can be done whenever such a thing occurs.
Refresh our mind again on what exactly the practice among the university fraternity is, if a lecturer is on sabbatical leave, for example.
Until recently, if a lecturer is on sabbatical leave, sabbatical leave is not leave whereby you can go home and rest. You are supposed to go to another institution and continue to serve the government or the fraternity. So once I go on sabbatical leave, let's say I've been sent on sabbatical leave to Joy FM, and Joy FM is a government-subvented agency. What happens is that in the past, I draw salaries from both institutions. I'll be getting my basic salary from my parent institution, whereas the new institution where I am, they will also pay me. Then recently, there was a directive to the effect that, no, for this particular one, you need to draw the salary from one of the institutions, either the parent institution or the new institution where you have gone to. So in this particular case, it's difficult to tell. Did it happen before the directive came or it happened after?
So that was where I was coming to. When was this directive given? Because this report is about 2021.
2021, then I think it's a recent thing, because the directive has been in effect since about 2017, 2018. So in that case, it means that the directive came before this report is coming out. So it means that whoever was doing the pay should have made sure that the right thing was being done. So in this particular instance, this is what has been identified. And I believe that it's up to us to put in the right measures so that there's enough communication between the two agencies, whereby one goes to secondment on or sabbatical leave at the place, because it can happen to any institution, but the communication is very important to ensure that these problems do not arise.
Prof, let me take your thought on university programs that you run in your universities. We understand that some universities are running programs that are not accredited. What are the processes for a university to advertise a program that I want to admit people to come and pursue this program?
The tradition has been that for one to run a given program, then the program must be accredited by the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. So that is the practice at the moment. However, what happens oftentimes is that the person or the institution might have submitted their documents for accreditation, and then it may be delaying. So sometimes that causes some of these infractions to occur, because for this particular report also, I must admit that I've not read the report to know that are they referring to new programs or they are referring to existing programs. More often than not, these problems arise as a result of problems associated with existing programs. So there's an existing program, the person has, the program is already running. So you have now submitted your documentation for it to be reaccredited. However, JTech, by virtue of the problems with their staffing, also may struggle in order for them to be able to get people to come to the place and review the programs as expected. So in a situation whereby they are unable to send the people, you also cannot say that the students who are in school should be sent home. So sometimes the issue has to do with problems with staffing at JTech, which seems to be they seem to be running on a very, very lean staff. And so sometimes these problems arise. But I don't think it's something that is unsurmountable. I think quickly JTech needs to organize and then send persons to these places once they have received the documents or the application for reaccreditation from the affected institutions so that they can reaccredit the programs for us to keep running.
You are in the academia. What's the essence of a university getting accreditation for a program that has been running?
Okay, in simple terms, I'll say it's just trying to avoid unemployed graduates association. Because the programs, if they are not reaccredited, it means that there's the likelihood that an institution may be running a program that fails to, should I say, they wouldn't be able to stand the test of time. Currently, we are having a system where you see that hardly will you see somebody having personal secretaries like we used to do in the past, unless the person is at a certain management level. For a situation like that, it means that every student must be computer literate. They must be very conversant with softwares they are using for their programs and so on and so forth. So where a program does not take some of these things into consideration, it means that you'll be training students who are not fit for the job market. And that is where accreditation comes in. So periodically, JTech goes around the universities and accredits the programs. It's normally done every 5 years. So every 5 years, they come in, accredit the program. When it's about to expire, you resubmit your application, and again, you go through the processes. So every 5 years, they need to do that and make sure that the programs are relevant to the times we are running them.
So what will be the impact on me if I've pursued a program that has not been re-accredited or that has not been accredited?
Typically, what would happen is that in some cases, JTech may, if they feel the institution is being recalcitrant, probably they have written to them, they've asked over and over and over, they may inform the public and the international community that for this particular university, their programs are not accredited. And it's the accreditation also, I must state, it's not just about the programs, but it's also about the institution as well.
Okay.
So number one, you need to get institutional accreditation. And then secondly, you get program accreditations. So it's possible that JTech may withdraw the institutional accreditation of an institution that is running programs that are not accredited. Because when it comes to the time of accrediting the institution, then some of these problems may arise. But for the student or for the graduate who doesn't know that the program he's running is not accredited, that is where JTech comes in, and they need to police and make sure that the right things are being done within the tertiary education space.
Professor Nuno, I'm grateful that you found time to join us. He is the president of the University Teachers Association of Ghana. And meanwhile, President Akufo-Addo says the country is determined not to compromise the integrity and quality of education at the tertiary level. He was speaking at the program at the Jubilee House to present the presidential charter to the Methodist and Presbyterian and Catholic universities.
It's finally seeing reason
following the creation of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission under the Education Regulatory Bodies Act 2020, Act 1023, it is no longer mandatory for new tertiary education institutions to go into affiliation arrangements with existing chartered institutions to be accredited. This means that the standard of proof would be much higher for new institutions coming on board, as they will have to demonstrate capacity to hit the ground running. I will thus urge the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission to be even more vigilant in applying the new rules in order not to compromise the internationally acknowledged reputation of integrity and quality of Ghana's higher education system.
Now moving on to other stories. The suspended municipal chief executive MC of the Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly, Abdul Mumin Issa, has been reinstated as mayor of Sekondi Takoradi. The embattled mayor was arrested by the Western Regional Police Command on Thursday, February 3rd, for an alleged motor traffic offense, verbal assault, and offensive conduct against a police officer who was performing his lawful duty. He was hauled over at a police checkpoint at Takoradi when he was spotted driving recklessly on the shoulder of the road. Mr. Abdul Mumin Issa was arrested when a viral social media captured the government appointee threatening the police officer with a transfer, among other things. This led to his suspension, and subsequently he was arraigned in court and granted bail to the tune of 100,000 cedis with 3 sureties after he pleaded not guilty to the charges. News of the MC's reinstatement was communicated in a letter signed by Dan Boche. The Minister of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, confirmed the reinstatement. The letter dated August 26th said, "I wish to inform you that His Excellency, the President of the Republic, in response to recommendations made by the Western Regional Coordinating Council, has given approval for the reinstatement of Mr. Abdul Mumin Issa as the Metropolitan Chief Executive for Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly." Richard Fiadomo is a local government expert joining us live with more. Thank you so much for your time here. What has changed or will change following the suspension and reinstatement of the MC?
Thank you very much, and greetings to all your cherished viewers and listeners. For us, we question the legality of the president's action in suspending the chief executive in the first place, because we said at the time that the president did not have the local standard to suspend a metropolitan chief executive who has been duly confirmed by the assembly members. So move fast forward. If the president has realized that he didn't have the power to suspend the chief executive, for which reason he's reinstating the chief executive, we have no problems with it. We rather congratulate him for making amends with the illegality that the president perpetrated. But be that as it may, if it is the case that it is not that illegality they want to correct, but they have decided to reinstate him for the sake of it, when there's a case running in court at the moment and finality has not been brought to it, then we have a problem with the reinstatement of the Metropolitan Chief Executive.
You describe the president's decision as an illegality. Why is it so?
Yeah, it was an illegality because, number one, if you look at Article 241 of the Constitution, it gives the president the power to nominate. The president does not even appoint Metropolitan Chief Executive. The president is given the chance to nominate, and when the president nominates, the assembly members by two-thirds majority go for a conference or a meeting and confirm the president nominee. That is why if the president nominee does not get 75% of the votes from assembly members, that person cannot become a chief executive. The president will have to re-nominate that person. So the power to appoint a metropolitan, municipal, or district chief executive does not lie in the hands of the president. So if you cannot appoint me, you cannot suspend me from office, neither can you even remove me. And that is why we are looking at that issue. We are going to the Supreme Court for an interpretation on that particular one. So clearly, that is why we think that the president perpetrated an illegality by suspending a metropolitan chief executive. If he has, upon hindsight, he realizes that what he did was an illegality and he wants to correct it, then we'll be quick to congratulate him. But if that is not the case, but they decide to reinstate him upon all that the chief executive did, and which is a matter that is currently before the court, then I think it's an unfortunate thing. I would not know what kind of signal the president is sending to Ghanaians and indeed the court.
What could possibly change with his reinstatement, or what could have changed to inform? You've said there that maybe the president has seen that he erred in the first place, but if you look through how this thing has progressed, what could have changed, and what do you expect to change with his reinstatement?
Yeah, thank you. This question can best be answered by the president. He has reinstated the man, so he should come and tell Ghanaians why he reinstated the man. Then if he comes to tell all of us that, yes, initially it was an illegal act or it was in error and he's amending the error, then we move on. But as we speak, there is no explanation. So clearly, what the chief executive, the reason for which he illegally suspended him, it is a matter that is sub judice. It's before the court. So if the court is still running and the case has not been brought to finality, then I cannot sit here and enter into the president's head and know the exact reasons for the reinstatement. I can only hazard a guess to say that maybe the president, upon hindsight, have realized that his action was an illegality based on which he has reinstated the chief executive. If not, it will be very difficult for me to provide any suggestions why the president did that. He would be the best person to answer that question.
What's your expectation of how things should be now that he's back in office?
Yeah, clearly, I do not know how the assembly is even going to receive him. Because this is somebody who was suspended because of an action he took as the head of the Metropolitan Security Council, ordering a policeman, transferring a policeman, and you send him somewhere as a form of punishment. Now he's going back to those same functions. When the case is before if the court had cleared him and he has been reinstated, then we know that the court had brought finality to the matter. But as we speak, the case is still before the court. The president is now reinstating him to go and perform those very functions that he did what he did and became an issue for which reason is even in court. So clearly, he has put the Metropolitan Chief Executive in a very awkward position. I do not see how he's going to function, especially the role he's playing as the head of the Metropolitan Security Council.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. Richard Fiadomo is a local government expert there. Now, traditional authorities in areas affected by irresponsible mining in the Ashanti region have expressed their displeasure over assertions that they hold a major stake in stopping illegal mining. The chiefs say they cannot be blamed by politicians for the wanton destruction of land and pollution of water bodies when licenses and protection for miners are led by political leaders. This was after the Deputy Lands Minister, Mreku Duka, had emphasized on the role of chiefs in ending galamsey at an illegal mining forum organized by the ministry in Kumasi. Rastos Asaridonko has more.
The polluted nature of the River Ofin and other water bodies in the Ashanti region due to illegal mining has recently attracted public outcry. The forum, which attracted district and municipal chief executives and traditional leaders across the region, was to pool support in dealing with the menace at the local level.
We will not ban mining of gold in this country as a government. We will not ban it. But we are mining responsibly, that's all.
A submission by the Deputy Lands Minister, Mreku Duka, on the role of chiefs in ending galamsey did not go down well with the chiefs. All of us gathered here know those polluting our water bodies. We can't deny that. We know them. Every land in Ghana has a custodian. We know our land and water boundaries. If we decide now to ban mining on our water bodies, it will end. In reference, the chiefs blamed politicians for fueling the practice while indicating their helplessness in dealing with the miners. Galamsey has gotten out of hand because of you politicians. Today, our cocoa farms, forests have been destroyed because of you politicians. Because the miners come with licenses from you and they are protected by military and police. Now all our sacred places in the forest have been destroyed. Those boys you assigned to follow the miners are the ones who take them to the forest. I ask, as you send the miners down to mine our lands, do you want us to starve? The Mentiahene of Bekwai, Nana Kusi Frimpong Kotobre, indicated the presence of military personnel still protecting miners in the Kobro section of the Apamprama Forest Reserve. In Amansia Central, Kobro Forest, soldiers are protecting miners there to mine as we speak, to the farm. Deputy Minister for Lands in charge of forestry, Benito Wusubiu, responded.
Forest reserves,
we will not allow anybody to mine in the forest reserve. As you notify us, the chief executive of the Forestry Commission will prompt the district forest manager. If you show us the place within 24 hours, you will see what will happen.
Within 24 hours.
Meanwhile, Mr. Mrekuduka has hinted of new plans to police the country's water bodies against illegal mining.
We've commissioned out some boats that will be patrolling the river bodies 24/7. And we are doing that in conjunction with the Naval Command. We've also set up a situational room at the Minerals Commission who will serve as an anchor of whatever they do on the field. We're tracking all earth-moving machines. So if you even have a concession which is legal, and you have, for example, an excavator, and that excavator is tracked, and you move the excavator out of the confines of that concession, it will be deactivated unless you come to Minerals Commission or you call and explain the reasons why you got the machine out of the confines of that concession before it will be activated.
Reporting for JoyNews, Erastus Asaridonko, Kumasi.
Away from that, a researcher at the University of Ghana, Dr. Jerry Joe Harrison, has developed a formula that will be a major contributor to the fight against the HIV epidemic. The research that birthed the findings looked at the molecular structure of HIV polyprotein, a key protein that helps the HIV virus to multiply and propagate. With the molecular structure of this important protein unraveled, Dr. Harrison says the treatment of HIV has been giving a major boost. Ernest Menova Health Desk has been speaking to him.
Over the years, what we know is that the virus uses very crafty methods by one having a genome that has overlaps in there so that it can maintain a very small size. But one thing that we also observed is that for bigger animals and all that, we make each protein that we need for every process. But these viruses make these proteins as a long block. Then they chop them into smaller pieces in a process we call maturation.
Okay.
This is very unique to viruses. The polyprotein concept. And so the polyprotein presents a unique avenue for targeting the virus, since there are no equivalents within the cells of the eukaryotes that they infect.
Okay.
And for the past 40 years, we really didn't have any grasp of how these polyproteins look like and whether they're even structured in the first place. And so what me and my team have been doing over the past 6-7 years is...
Oh, that's how long it took you to come out with this research?
Oh yes, it's going down there and developing new tools and technologies that allowed us to be able to visualize the three-dimensional structure of the enzymes that are used by the virus before they become fully active and ready to go. They come together as a polyprotein, and we wanted to see how they look like. And so that's what the work that was published was about.
Okay, so if I understand what you're saying, you're trying to deal with the rapid reproduction or maturation of the virus such that you're able to deal with it at its initial stages so that it doesn't reproduce itself quickly and then get to affect the person infected.
Yes, so we know that the virus has to be inserted into the host genome, and then from there new viruses are made. And the new viruses comprise protein and nucleic acid complexes.
Okay.
And so when the virus is assembled, the virus has to mature. And that maturation involves a protein Caesar that goes about cutting the proteins at specific places in that process.
Okay.
what we've now found is that in the initial stages before this maturation happens, the proteins look a certain way. And what we can do now is to develop drugs that can specifically stop this processing from happening. Okay. And we can stop that, the virus is completely dead. And the optimism is that because the number of proteins in this complex are so small, even if we're able to develop new drugs, we are going to need small doses because there are not many of these available. Right. And that means that potential side effects, toxicities are going to be much less. That is going to potentially improve compliance, and things like that. So we are really optimistic that now that we know how these enzymes look like, as somebody would say, in their immature stage, okay, then we can target this immature stage of the life cycle and then develop inhibitors that will be able to specifically stop this maturation process, which is required for the virus to be able to infect new cells.
Right. And it's safe to say that at this point, the work that you have done provides basis to be able to deal with this at a very early stage, reduce the implications. HIV positive patients could be more healthier.
Absolutely.
Could live much longer than we're seeing today.
Like everybody else. And the good thing about reducing the viral load below a certain point is that you can't even transmit it.
Right.
Okay. So then, if we have more effective drugs, then even in the absence of a cure, we could still get the disease eradicated, because now, if you can't transmit it, then over time, all those populations that have it will die off, and then we have a brand new population that doesn't have the virus.
Dr. Harrison also expressed concern about the latest report of the AIDS Commission that reviewed more than 23,000 new cases were recorded for the first half of this year. He's urging government and the AIDS Commission to leverage on his research in the fight against the epidemic.
Look, as a country, we have to become serious about some of these challenges. Procurement processes alone are just enough to put off new researcher. You can't believe that you can have a grant for 1 year, and for more than 6 months, you haven't been able to procure anything because there's one office, they have to go to another office, to another office, because there are laws. You're
talking about the procurement authority or the procurement laws?
The procurement laws, the people that are within the universities and research institutions, people are interpreting the procurement laws and are working with the procurement laws. But I believe strongly that these were not a thing that were anticipated when they were framing the procurement law. But they become integral part of our laws, and so people have to apply it as it is. I don't have any doubt in my mind that if we make just for research things duty-free and tax-free, and that people can actually buy from the best vendor that is out there, we absolutely can increase our research inflows by 200% in a couple of years.
Right. I feel the frustration. Hopefully somebody will be listening and would move in that direction. But back to the Ghana AIDS Commission and of course the policymakers. What can they do with your research, and what also should we be doing to help the campaign, the fight against HIV?
Thank you. I think that at the end of the day, we are working towards one goal, and that is eradicating HIV from our continent. Unfortunately, we are the worst struck. And so the AIDS Commission can be an advocate for research, because at the end of the day, we need to be contributing to the fight, either it's in the form of diagnostics or whatever form it is. But I think at this stage, being able to advocate for government to come to the aid of people who are doing research, within that area can absolutely be critical. But I also believe that in the age of social media and all that, we should continue with the campaign for people to be cautious. The use of protection is absolutely crucial if we are going to be able to reduce the number of infections that we have. What we shouldn't lose sight of is that there are many people who are positive and don't even know. So screening is something that we should probably embark on a large scale and try to get everybody tested, so that those who are positive can be given the antiretroviral medications. That way they can live healthy, and they don't have to be able to even, at some point, they may not even be able to transmit to their partner.
Now, assuming you've been experiencing a state of complete body immobility, yet you are widely awake and it is making you extremely anxious and depressed, doctors say there's no cause for alarm. You're merely having sleep paralysis. Well, to calm your nerves and anxiety about the phenomenon, JoyNews' Jessie Sewa-Boafo speaks to a doctor in the following report.
Sleep paralysis is a transient inability to move or speak while falling asleep or upon waking up. According to medical experts, it is purely a natural episode in the rapid eye movement stage of sleep. Stress, inadequate and inconsistent sleep patterns, and certain medications have been identified as possible causes. The general lack of knowledge about the experience, however, is causing some people to resort to unorthodox means of treatment. Others also attribute it to spiritual machinations. Here are some views from parts of Accra.
You are asleep and you feel like waking up, but you can't wake up. You can't even move your body.
It was frustrating. I wanted to get up so badly.
Someone was following me like a monster in a black. Use the word Jesus Christ on the person.
I have the assumption that there's a spiritual presence around and somebody's trying to cover me. And mostly I'm trying to say Jesus, and I'm not even able to utter a word.
To me, I think it's tiredness.
Doctors, however, explain that there's no cause for alarm. With enough rest, one can check the occurrence of sleep paralysis. Dr. Kojo is a sleep specialist at the Brain and Mind Center at Abokobi. He talks about the stages of sleep.
There are two types of sleep. There's a non-rapid eye movement and there's a rapid eye movement sleep. In the rapid eye movement sleep, you have a couple of things that happen. 1, dreaming. 2, rapid eye movement. 3, for males, erections. 4, the brain is all over the place, including active dreaming. 5, muscle diaphragm movement. 6, complete paralysis of all the other external muscles. It is part of the rapid eye movement stage of sleep.
Dr. Kojo reassures that sleep paralysis is nothing spiritual.
So it is not that something is causing it. No, that is completely wrong. Just to reassure people, it's a normal state. It happens to everybody. There is no spiritual connotation to it at all.
Though experienced by all age groups, sleep paralysis is common in men. Jessie Sewa-Boafo reports for JoyNews.
Now we'll take a quick break and bring you business. But just before, the United States Agency for International Development Partnership for Education in Ghana has officially presented additional teaching and learning materials for English to schools across the country. The project is expected to enhance the teaching and learning of the English language at the basic level. We'll bring you details of the story later in our subsequent bulletins. We'll take a quick break for business. Stay with us.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. A Rwandan delegation comprising its Pharmacy Council and other relevant stakeholders are in Ghana to explore bilateral opportunities in the pharmaceutical sector for economic development and public health protection. The delegation has been meeting with the leadership of the Faculty of Pharmacy at the KNUST and the Pharmacy Council of Ghana for prospective collaborations to train more pharmacists in bringing the workforce deficit in Rwanda. There is more in this report.
The delegation since arrival has been holding consultative dialogue with the Pharmacy Council of Ghana and the National Health Insurance Authority for resource mobilization strategies. According to Permanent Secretary and Registrar for the Rwanda National Pharmacy Council, Jean Damascene Senyorokuri, Rwanda is challenged with huge deficits of pharmacists to patients. Rwanda presently has less than 2,000 pharmacists, with 12 pharmacy technicians serving the over 12 million population.
In the light of expanding its workforce, the delegation met with the leadership at the College of Health Sciences of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology to initiate formal collaborations.
Our pharmacy profession is evolving in the country, and due to the vision of the country to become a center of pharmaceutical industries by 2050, as a regulator of the pharmacy profession, we decided to make a field visit in renowned countries with high level of regulation in the pharmaceutical sector, with high level of education in the pharmacy programs, and then we are here in Ghana.
Mr. Senge Yokuri says the collaboration is an effort to safeguard public safety in both countries.
The main aim is the public health protection. We are aiming at public health protection. And the vision of the Ghana Pharmacy Council is to become a center of pharmaceutical care provider. So, our own is to become a good regulator, or the public health protection is our main mission.
Deputy Registrar Operations at the Pharmacy Council of Ghana, Dr. Daniel Ameni Dankwa, believes the collaboration could help make Africa a leading pharmaceutical hub and avoid importation of drugs from Western countries.
It's possible. It's possible because we have the raw material and many other opportunities to be able to do so. And you would also realize that most of the diseases that you need medicines to resolve are here with us in a large scale, and we don't have these high-class production facilities to produce these specialized medicines. And so the effort to develop this in Africa is a great opportunity for growth in Africa. It will limit the importation.
Delighted about the collaborations, Provost of the College of Health Sciences, KNUST, Professor Christian Ajari, indicated the partnership would allow formal educational exchanges between the two countries.
With the collaboration, I think it's going to help the faculty in impacting knowledge and experience to the Rwandese pharmacy students. So for them to, some of them, the faculty will be coming to the faculty and that of their college to learn some few things in terms of teaching and then research. So I think it's going to help to push the institutions in the Rwanda to a higher level, and also the reputation that the university is also enjoying.
For JoyNews, Emmanuel Bright-Kweku reporting.
Now, government has said it is confident Ghanaian small and medium enterprises will be able to take full advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. According to Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Chibefi, government through the Ghana Exim Bank has introduced several initiatives that will cushion various SMEs to trade without barriers. He spoke to Joy Business at the Tuesday market organized by the Ghana Exim Bank.
The Tuesday Market is a platform created by the Ghana Exim Bank for its clients and producers of made-in-Ghana products, not only to showcase their product, but also serve as a one-stop shop for the general public to purchase anything locally manufactured. According to Mr. Beifi, the initiative is one that will create opportunities for small businesses.
Clearly, they are prepared to help SMEs develop, and especially those in the sector. Most of them are young people. And Exim Bank, as a bank that is interested in import and export, is here to help them bring up their businesses and also help them to develop well as big-time industrialists. Because these young people are doing marvelously well and they need a little push. And that is where Exim Bank comes in to serve. They are not only financing their projects, but they are also giving them the space to be able to exhibit their project, which is good. So to me, I'm so much impressed about this event. Going forward, government's 10-point industrial transformation agenda, one of them is the SME development. We have specifically determined to to develop the SMEs. That is how come we have now moved from MBSSI to now GEA. We decided to change the name of the sector to make sure that people who are in that sector become so interested in developing their business, and not just developing their business, but government also showing interest in supporting them through certain packages and incentives.
Chief Executive Officer for the Ghana Exim Bank, Lawrence Ajinsam, highlighted the importance of the Tuesday market, indicating it will create jobs and generate revenues for the country at large.
Feedback has been positive to the extent that for the past 3 years that we started this Tuesday market, those who we started with, we've seen an improvement in their packaging. If you were here 3 years ago as compared to now, you would see that the participants have bought into the idea of making sure that they meet a certain standard, that is, their goods will be able to be an exportable product, and that also they will qualify for Ghana Standard Authority and Food and Drugs Board certification for them to be able to export. In terms of sales, again, this is a financial enclave, and we have most of the banks around. So when they come, they're able to get more sales. I call it the market for the marketless. Those people that we have here, as you've seen, most of them do not have the kind of capital for them to have shops either in cantonments or in Makola or East Legon. So some of these open space exhibitions and helps them to be able to, one, market themselves, and also to showcase their products and to be able to make some little money.
The Ghana Exim Bank also launched the Ghana Exim Bank Made in Ghana Town, an outlet that stocks assorted made in Ghana products.
And that's business. The news continues after this week.
Welcome back from the break. Now, the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, Partnership for Education in Ghana, has officially presented additional teaching and learning materials for English to schools across the country. The project is expected to enhance the teaching and learning of the English language at the basic level. JoyNews' Tasha Michelle was at the presentation ceremony in Accra, and here is her report read to you. The Ministry of Education has taken delivery of over 3.7 million English teaching and learning materials from the USAID to enhance effective teaching and learning of the subject in the country. Speaking at the presentation ceremony, the Education Minister, Dr. Yao Osei-Aduchum, outlined the importance of providing pupils with English books.
Today we have English textbooks, and some people will say, why didn't you do mathematics? Literacy, proficiency in English is so critical. Around the World Bank measures what they call learning poverty. And when they talk about learning poverty, they look at students in 4th grade or age 10, and they look at how many of them can read for understanding. In developing countries, 87% of students cannot read for understanding. And that's a tragedy. If you are not proficient in English, you don't have access to the content in all the other subject areas. So this effort by USAID to support what they began with the literacy in various subjects in various languages, and then the transition to English began. And this is a continuation of the path to transition to English, so that we have students who are proficient in the English language and could therefore access the content in mathematics, access the content in RME and all the subjects, the sciences that we teach at the basic school level.
The minister also commended the management of Buck Press for ensuring the printing of such quality books and urged Ghanaians to engage the services of local printing companies, which will ultimately create employment.
So I want to appreciate Buck Press for the great job that they have done. You go to Buck Press and you see sometimes you hear about the fact that in Ghana we don't have a maintenance culture. I tell them it's not maintenance culture, we don't have a maintenance budget. But Buck Press have maintenance budget. So when you went in there, the place is so clean and beautiful. And we truly appreciate your sense. The government is doing so much to bring about transformation. We also want to make sure that we create jobs. And Buck Press told me, as a result of this, they were able to create 50 jobs, more jobs. than normally they will have. So I appeal to all those printing materials in the private sector, the corporate sector, turn to our Ghanaian printers and help us create jobs here. The same way USAID did. We wouldn't have begrudged them if they say it's coming from America. After all, it's American tax dollars at work. But they brought it to Ghana, and it created jobs for us. So those of us in this country, in the private sector and the public sector, let us turn our attention to our own printing presses. Use them, and when you use them, not only are they doing quality, international level work, but they're also creating jobs for the Ghanaian.
In an interview with the U.S. ambassador to Ghana, Virginia Palmer said the U.S. government is ready to continue to support the country through the provision of quality education.
3.7 million additional textbooks. We have already provided 11 million textbooks in local languages, and these books are in English as kids make the transition from local languages to English programs. So there are word cards and books and materials for teachers, and we provide some training as well to support that. And I'm very pleased to work so closely with the Ministry of Education on this great program that helps kids learn to read. This program, I think, is about $5 million, and then it's a total of $30 million, I believe.
The bilateral relations between the United States and Ghana, which dates back to several decades, is being strengthened daily. Tasha Michelle's report for JoyNews. So, and that's how we wrap up today's bulletin, but we apologize for our inability to bring you sports. For more news, log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. We'll meet again at midday. Do enjoy the rest of your morning.